Hello guys, it's Golden here. So today in this video, I thought I would tell you the entire story, or basically the storyline of what's been going on. So to know that, we need to go back a little bit. Yep, I'm not joking. I actually still have the last season map. Yep, and this is the final day as well. So. Kind of good thing. So this is what season 6 ended up having. But of course, in the live event that you would have seen, because on the official GunNite channel that I linked in part 2 of the links video, the GunNite channel has its own playlist, which includes the event in it. But anyway, yeah, so in the event there's of course more pieces of chunks of different realities colliding, but of course when the event's not happening, this is what it looks like. So as a recap, basically when season 6 first started, it used to just be this massive, beautiful looking island that was perfectly fine. But then the 6th ended up realizing something wasn't right. Throughout the weeks, for some reason, the scientism, one of the found members of the 6th, ended up realizing that the energy readings from the reality point were not natural. Normally it'd be calmed down and perfectly fine once it's deep underground, but even when it was underground, for some reason it was still acting like it wasn't. Throughout season 6, we started seeing more of these weird, of the reality point tentacle things, whatever they are, and going far into the sky. We got to stare at them for days on end until eventually we saw them getting closer and closer, pulling in more chunks of different realities together. The scientists knew something wasn't right, and the 6 had to think of some way to fix this. But it wasn't easy to figure it out because, well, the reality point was underground. How could they fix it? They can't shove it deeper down. They'll probably make it even worse, or possibly go to the other side of the island that is just left alone. Even at some point throughout season 6, the reality point even pulled in full locations. One of the collab skins was a Nova skin, and Nova's realities, like main POI, got pulled in to the GunNite reality. As you can see, the reality point's powers make it so all these pieces of a different reality are stuck together. So clearly the island is, because like season 6's classic quote, if too many of different realities get pulled in together, this could cause a reality collision, which could cause everything to go completely wrong and never be reverted back ever again. So it's like a black hole, pretty much. So because of this, the 6 had to think of something. Now, like season 5, Josie wasn't like gone. Yeah, sure, he was gone for quite a while in season 6, but eventually he did come back. And instead, before he did, he sent a voice message. The voice message was mostly hard to hear, or you couldn't even see or hear what the message was saying. But with the help of the scientism, the 6 managed to fully decrypt the whole recorded message of Jonesy. In it, Jonesy himself says that since there's nothing else to fix it, but he's been noticing that ever since he first dedicated his life to being with ego or something like that, he's always noticed that all these bad things have something in common. It's that every time the reality point has energy readings that get sent into space, or every time a villain is defeated, for some reason it's like there was another villain waiting in line to go to the island. And it wasn't until season 6 anyway where Josie finally sent a voice message and said to everyone that they need to destroy the reality point. The 6 was shocked because no one Josie wouldn't say this because they've always saved the reality point from danger. But they eventually realized that all all these bad things that were happening onto the GunNite Island weren't just happening because the villains kept coming over. It was actually because the reality point kept sending energy readings into space so far beyond that hundreds and thousands of villains could feel the energy, which meant that characters like Sonic God XC or Dark or Xeno or all those other classic villains and characters would always be able to come here. There's been a few times where we've almost failed to save reality, but we got lucky in doing so. So during the flagship event of Season 6, with Jones on our side, he helps the 6. So by halfway through the event is where something happens. So basically in space, the only people left in space that you could see in the event was the Scientism, the Foundated, and Jonesy. Jonesy ended up surviving, and he had his rift gun. Now at the end, so just before the halfway point of the event, the Loopers managed to destroy the reality point. Because of this, reality was instantly breaking down, and the island instantly exploded. Now the problem was that in order to be able to continue our lives without the reality point no longer with us, we had to at least find something to help create the new island by pulling in pieces of other realities but forging them together, making it so that all of the realities could be combined to one giant reality that could contain it all, which is what the Season 7 island is, or map, sorry. But they didn't have any of the fractured pieces of the reality point before it completely evaporated. But with pure luck, Jonesy has his rift gun, which contains small fragments of the reality point, which is why the rift gun allows him, and in the name, allows Jonesy to travel to different realities, open up portals, and control certain stuff, like stabilizing the reality point. With that in mind, it means that the Foundated breaks it open and takes the last shards, meaning that Jonesy no longer has a rift gun on his side. So we wonder where he's on the Season 7 map, luckily. But yeah. By the end of the event, the last fractured pieces evaporate as the Season 7 island begins to form. But in return, the Foundator sacrifices his life permanently, so he's dead. Well, maybe, we don't know. But sacrifices his life completely to help forge the island. And then by the end of the event, everything goes completely white. One reality log and 5 teasers later, Season 7 begins. So let's go on to that. And now we move on to Season 7. So now that the island is completely new, there comes a few things. So the Season 7 island starts with this, the Tree of New Beginnings. Now, unlike the reality tree from Season 5, this tree is a pretty much more safe and natural one. It grows in the center of a large, massive lake, surrounded by a bunch of medium-sized icicle spikes, with chunks of ice all over the water. Luckily, one bridge and a couple boats and a full pirate ship of people are sailed around the area, with a random meteor landing in the water. And this might have been one meteor that somehow survived way back in Chapter 1. Now, what's also special about this tree is that some of its main leaves glow a certain colours. Let's just say these colours are actually the glow effect that creates the biomes. For example, this completely white part of the tree represents the snow biome. This orangey gold yellow one right next to this one represents the desert biome all the way in that direction. But then there's also these other ones, like However, this green one's of course the plains biome. But then you have these yellow one, you have the bright yellow one, and then you have the red one. This red one apparently represents the error biome, or the redwood biome, which as of right now has not happened. Neither has this one, which is unknown, and this one. Now in actual fact, this is actually the desert biome's main color option, because I've just remembered that this is not actually the desert biome, this is the medieval biome's color, because it's more darker. So basically the Tree of New Beginnings represents most of the biomes that are in the season, which there are only 3: desert, medieval, and snow. Because the plains biome doesn't really count. Well, if it does, then technically there's 4. Out of like the many other biomes are still not here. Like the negative zone, which is what the red biome is called. Now with this comes a few problems. So with the founder sacrificing, when Josie finally wakes up on the new island, now there's nothing to help him. No normal people survived. The loopers of course did. However, there's no one left to save him. Because when this new island had started, Jonesy was left alone. Yep, that's right, you heard me well. Well, pretty much. Agent Jonesy, yeah, that's right, Jonesy was the only character who had managed to come to this island. Because as he explores it and looks around, he realizes he has to do all the work himself, like scanning around or scanning the island, checking its seismometer, like the energy readings and so on. Because it's just him now. The whole of the 6 are now gone. Their home base, the 6's home base, was on the Season 6 island, because the Season 6 island was where the 6 lived in. And that's how they used that island to travel to the original GunNite island to be able to save Josie, like in Chapter 2 and 1. But now that that island has been completely destroyed and blown up, it means there is no trace of the 6 remaining. We don't know if the other members managed to survive or not. We don't know if they're dead or alive. All we know is that they have vanished completely. This means that Jonesy cannot just simply ask like anyone for help, because there's no one there to save him. Because of this, it means that Jonesy has to do all the work himself. So as of right now, Season 7, you can find many NPCs around the map, including the Jonesy. He can be found in his own shack around the map. Now of course I haven't added the shack yet, that's why I'm talking about it instead of just showing it. But yeah, so that's pretty much what you need to know about the entire storyline of what happened last season in Season 6 and the Fracture event, alongside what the storyline is currently right now in Season 7. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.